New episode, new space, new vibe. Obviously, we have to talk about it. We always do. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Human to Human. My name is Jessica Jane. You can obviously call me Jess. And today we're going to talk about my move in with my boyfriend. It has been a week and a bit. It's a Monday. We moved in on a Thursday over a week ago. So it's been a little bit of time. It still feels really fresh, but we are actually laughing because it feels like we've been here longer than we actually have. And it's felt like that kind of throughout the entire process. Like we need to continually remind ourselves, like, we haven't been here for that long. Let's have a little bit of grace with ourselves, especially when we're navigating just like cohabitating and getting mad at each other. And it's definitely an adjustment. And yet it feels like we're at home. And I mean, part of that is being so familiar with the area and having already spent a month in this area testing it out is really helpful. Like I already know where my go-to things are, but we're discovering even more stuff. And it's been nice. It's been good. And it's also been a whirlwind. And so this morning I was just kind of reflecting on what would I want to know about? What would I want to hear if I was to, listen to a podcast about moving, or even when I was like deep and thickly in the process. I had a lot of coworkers who had just moved and we would talk to each other about it. So I posted on my Instagram @withjessicajane, just saying, if you have any questions about the move, if you want to know anything about the process, I'm going to be doing a Q&A. Let me know what you want to hear. So you responded. I have answers for you. And first, let's talk about the deep process of moving and leading up to it, actually, because I kept teasing in the past few episodes that there kept being like this service elevator issue going on. And it was so stressful, and it was so unreasonably stressful. And actually, one of the questions here, let me find it, was, so someone asked, what part of moving stressed you out the most? And for me, it was uncertainty. Like, I think that's obviously something so many people struggle with, and that's so relatable. But like, I don't know. I feel like there shouldn't be. Okay, this maybe is fucking stupid to say, but I feel like there shouldn't be that much uncertainty with moving, at least in this situation where we already know the neighborhood and we felt really good about the apartment. We were both moving from our parents' houses, so we didn't even have to coordinate like leaving a place by a certain time. There was no necessarily rush, I would say, even though we put probably a rush on it just between the two of us. But a little bit of backstory, if for some reason this is your first episode you're ever listening to of Human to Human, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. And this is the first time my boyfriend Josh and I have ever moved out together into a place. We are in literally like 4 days about to celebrate 5 years of being together. We're both 25 and we both came from our parents' houses. We've both lived in different places over the past 5 years, in university and residence, and I lived in an apartment with a roommate and this and that. But this is the big shebang, if you will. And it's funny because it doesn't even feel like that, but it kind of is. Like I was talking to one of my bosses about it, and she's like, that's so exciting. Like it's huge when you move in with your partner for the first time, and like, that boss and other bosses or coworkers have been like, and like your first time living with a partner, right? Like ever. And I'm like, yes. And it's crazy and it's huge. And yet it also feels kind of grounding and stable and lovely. And he's definitely, okay, this might sound crazy considering if you know me, when you listen to the episodes, I'm a hyper bitch. But Josh is definitely more of a wound up individual in day-to-day life, which is so funny. When we first met each other, like first interaction, like if I had to say first impression, it was like how calm, cool, collected, and grounded this guy is. Like when I first met him, I remember sitting in his car and being like, oh, I'm up here. The vibe's down here. Like we can like take a beat, settle in. And yet day-to-day functioning is the fucking opposite. I come across as like so hyper and like energetic and loud and whatever, but day-to-day, I think I'm a pretty low-key, quiet, like likes to do my own thing. I love if Josh is over listening to this right now, like if he can hear me from the other room, which I know he's not listening, he's working, but if he were to hear me right now, it'd be funny if he would be like, you're wrong, bitch. But I think it's true just because of how social my job is and just how much output I give in each of my jobs and my shifts. And like, it's a lot. I teach Pilates, I do sauna cold plunge experiences. I'm definitely exerting so much energy. So when it comes to my home life, I'm very used to basically living alone, functioning alone, being quite quiet. And this man is the opposite. He works almost fully from home right now. As soon as his knee has healed from his surgery, it's like almost there to the point where he could go into the office, but not quite there yet. Anyway, I think he needs it. Between you and I, he needs some social interaction because he is so hyper. So it's funny because like going into the situation, obviously there's some uncertainty. We don't fully know how we're going to habitate. And we don't fully know just like the vibe, the dynamic, the place, the space, what we're going to like about it, what we're going to struggle with. My car ended up having some issues too since we got here. So it's just been, a journey. And I think for me, uncertainty though was the biggest struggle because we stupidly kind of just decided in our minds like May 1st we get the keys, Saturday, May 2nd is when we move in. And that doesn't sound stupid. That sounds logical. We told all our friends they were all going to help us move. And then it comes to like 3 weeks before the move and we can't get the fucking service elevator booked. And I'm like calling the superintendent here and he's like super hyper to talk to. And he's just like not really giving us wiggle room. And he somehow allowed one tenant moving in to book 8 hours of moving, not only on Saturday, but also on Friday, May 1st. And I'm like, buddy, how could you possibly say, yeah, one tenant can get 16 hours of moving time and yet I can get none on my preferred days? Like that makes zero sense. And Sunday there's no moving availability because you can't book the service elevator. So we have to move on a weekday. And it was like this back and forth and he would just keep pushing us off and saying like, call me in 3 days. Call me on Friday. Call me on Monday. I don't know yet. And it all worked out, obviously. But in the moment, I just had so much anxiety about it. And like, moving day's the big day. And Josh and I were getting very like itchy to go do it. Like we were very much like, this needs to happen. We need to move out of our parents' houses. Like, let's go. Once you kind of decide what's happening, it's happening, right? You just are like hyper about it. And so it just was like, literally up until the week of was not confirmed. And I started to be like, okay, we are going to need to pivot. Like, what the fuck is that going to mean? Because I'm a stubborn motherfucker too. And I have learned a lot through this moving process to maybe not be so stubborn and to ask for more help because I am against movers, which is stupid, especially when your boyfriend has an injury where he can't lift heavy things. And also my dad has this like small trailer he can attach to his car on a hitch. So I'm also kind of anti U-Hauls. And so it's like, girl, could you make moving any more hard for yourself? You don't want to get a U-Haul and you don't want to get movers. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's okay. I think it's like rooted in working through things, through how things have been modeled to me. Anyway, I don't even know if that made sense, but whatever. I am the way I am, okay? I am the way I am, and it actually all worked out with the way I was, but it wasn't without hiccups. So going into this move, like, okay, so wait. Before we get into the move part of it, obviously it worked out with the service elevator. The way it worked out was that it was so interesting. I had been in contact with the guy who lived here before us because Josh and I were interested in maybe buying furniture off of him. Turns out this motherfucker, sorry, I'm really swearing a lot today. This motherfucker wanted to sell us like his couch for like $3,000. I'm like, buddy, I have a free couch at home I could bring. I just liked the way your couch was in the space and it was really big and cool and awesome. Like, no. And then he'd be like, do you want to buy my bed frame? And I was like, no. And then he'd be like, do you want to buy my microwave? And I was like, nope, I have one. And he'd be like, do you want to buy my bar stools? And I was like, no. But anyway, I felt, which is stupid. I shouldn't feel bad for this. That's my people pleaser brain to be like, I feel bad. I never bought anything from him. But it's like I initiated the relationship with him and then I didn't actually execute on any of the things I asked for, plus more things he offered us. Whatever. Who cares? I mean, it worked out for us though, because another question here was, I'll get to it after, but basically, how do you decorate without spending $1 million? And bitch, we are doing so well. We have not spent a lot of money on this place. I'll get into that later. But so basically, I was in contact with this guy, never bought anything from him, but he messaged me the Saturday, a week before the end of April. And he was like, okay, we're all moved out. Like, have a great move. Cheers, peace and love. And I'm like, Josh, he's moved out. It's a week before we actually get the keys. Like, should we try and get the keys early? And I'm being a crazy person, being like, let's get the keys early. Let's move it right now. We can move it tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, let me just contact, because I was doing a lot of the contacting with our superintendent. And it got to a point where I was like, Josh, you need to take over. I cannot keep doing all this contact. Which also I'm obsessed with. Like, so fun to move in with your boyfriend because you can just delegate in the ways that work best for each of you. And you don't have to worry about like roommate dynamics or hurting anyone's feelings. Like, I could hurt that guy's feelings all day. He'll still love me. I mean, I don't know if that's a good attitude to have. I'm half joking. But anyway, he called our real estate guy because at this point we still hadn't been in contact with our landlords because we had a real estate person representing us and our landlord had a real estate person representing them. So there's so many people you have to go through. Josh reaches out to our landlord reaches out to their real estate person. They talk to the landlords, and it turns out we can get the keys early. We can get the keys on Wednesday instead of Friday, and that doesn't seem like a big deal. However, I start chit-chatting with my close loved ones, and they're all available to help Thursday during the day for the move, okay? Instead of Saturday. Saturday's when everyone's off. And it actually works better because my parents want to go to the cottage and my brother and his girlfriend are busy later in the day on Saturday anyway. So I'm like, okay, this could hypothetically work. So we end up moving up our tenant insurance so it starts sooner. And we decide to get the keys on Wednesday. We, as in Jessica Jane, because Josh works from home Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So Wednesday during the day, I have to go downtown anyway to teach Pilates, so I'm going to get the keys. Okay, great. Mr. Superintendent, can we move on Thursday? Absolutely. Who the fuck's moving on a random April 29th day, 2 days before everyone gets their keys? So we get to move on Thursday. Wednesday was the day, though, where shit was going down. And this is when I regret not asking for more help, because it was like, you know, it worked out. My mom and dad were available Thursday. My sister-in-law was available Thursday to help. I pushed Josh to be like, you need to call your friends. None of your friends work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So the likelihood of multiple of them being available on Thursday is so high. So he called his friends. He got 4 dudes available for Thursday, which was an absolute slay. And Thursday was like locked and loaded. We're ready to go. And I had to like kind of push Josh of like, you have a torn ACL. We're one man down who would usually be so helpful, aka you need to ask people for help. So they pulled through. Now, my only regret is that the day before, my parents and I decided to load everything up into our cars and the trailer before we had to move on Thursday, because I personally, like, I hate moving everything in one day. I hate just, that's why I'm so against U-Hauls. I have done so many moves in my life where I will, this is, you know, where you can see the theme here, I will by myself load up a car, unload the car, do it again tomorrow, do it again the day after that, instead of just doing it all in one day. It is not efficient. It's actually stupid. But like, it's a control issue thing, I think. So anyway, Wednesday night, we're like, okay, great. Especially because we decided not to have a U-Haul, we're like, I'm going downtown anyway. I might as well load up my car and do one unload. And bless up, called one of my friends from high school who lives down the street, who doesn't work 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. And I was like, hey man, will you help me unload my car? And he's like, absolutely. So we do it together on Wednesday, but it was a lot of back and forth. I like went from my house to my apartment, got the keys, went from the apartment to my Pilates studio, taught Pilates, came from Pilates back to my apartment, unloaded my car into my apartment, then drove my car back home in rush hour traffic, ate dinner, and then this is where we went wrong. I did not not that I didn't even request. I requested my brother's help and he is unhelpful. His girlfriend, my sister-in-law, basically, I just say sister-in-law, it's easier. She calls me and she offers to help, but she was helping the day after. And I'm like, I feel bad getting her to help 2 days in a row. And like, she was going to bail on their plans to go watch a sports game with their friends. Jessica, shut the fuck up, accept help, because I didn't put together. The hardest part of the move is not putting everything into the service elevator and putting it into the apartment. Okay? What's the hardest part of the move? Well, I live in a basement. That means you have to work against gravity to take your shit out of the basement. And I've done this move a lot, but I didn't necessarily think about, I kept being like, okay, my dresser, my bed frame, my mattress, and my couch. Okay, that's not that many big heavy things. All the miscellaneous shit was kind of already dealt with / easy to deal with because anyone could carry kind of any of that small stuff. So Wednesday night, it's like Josh, who can't move anything, my mom, who can't really either, me, Josh's brother-in-law, and my dad. So there was like 3 of us, which seems like it would be okay. And it kind of was until my dad didn't feel well and didn't tell anyone. And I know I can't rewrite the past. And if I were to go back and say, yes, Olivia, please come and help us move, if this wouldn't have happened. But my dad ended up fainting in front of us. And I caught him from hitting the floor. And I don't think he would like me sharing this, but the good thing is he doesn't listen to my podcast, so this can stay between you and me. And the reason I don't think he'd like me sharing this is because in the moment, he didn't even tell us he wasn't feeling well. It was like we'd moved my dresser, we'd moved my couch. Actually, I forgot about this. My mom, my dad, and I moved half my couch the day before, and it was a disaster just moving it, the 3 of us. We just all got mad at each other. So we only had one half of the couch to move at this point. But it was a heavy couch. We moved one half of that couch. We moved my dresser, which was terrible. And at this point, my dad started not feeling well and not telling us. And he went inside for a moment. My brother-in-law and I moved my mattress. My dad comes back out and then he stumbles and for a millisecond goes unconscious, hits his front of his face on the couch that's in the car. I run forward. My boyfriend grabs one of his arms. I grab the rest of him. Thank God he didn't hit himself too hard and he didn't hit the ground. But mayday, mayday, we're all fucking terrified now. He's okay. Thank God. Everything's fine. But what a way to scare the shit out of you. And I just fear that if I had accepted more help on that Wednesday or even recruited more of Josh's friends to come help us, it literally would have taken less than an hour. And yet I'm pushing my 50-something-year-old dad to help us. And to paint the picture, it sounds like I'm a terrible person. The way my dad functions through life and the way I have always viewed my dad is he is an unstoppable force. And unfortunately, he's not an unstoppable force because everybody's body needs to give out sometimes and everyone's body needs rest and everyone needs to listen to their body. And I struggle to sometimes and I see where I get it from because he didn't even tell us he wasn't feeling well. He pushed it to the point where he passed out. I've passed out before. I know what it's like. I got it from him. And my dad's helped me with every single one of my moves in the past. And they're the ones who have basically taught me, don't use movers. Fuck that. We'll do it ourselves. And that's how my dad is with everything, with renovating our cottage, with carrying heavy things. Oh, yeah. Memories are coming full circle now. He literally tore his bicep trying to carry a huge 8x10 drywall by himself at the cottage a couple summers ago. Okay, everything's adding up. Hindsight's 2020. We're on a healing journey. We're starting to recognize where our isms are coming from. So that was my biggest regret. And then the day, oh my God, it's like father, like daughter. The day didn't stop after that. And it probably should have. And this was Josh insinuated because I had gotten to the apartment earlier that day and I was like, oh my God, why is this a thing? First of all, why is this a thing? It was a fucking mess. It was obviously cleared out of stuff, but it was dusty and dirty and gross. And so Josh and I are like, we don't want to move everything in tomorrow with it just so dirty. So we go back downtown and clean the whole place like crazy people. It made us feel so much better. But 20 minutes before we're finishing up, my stomach feels weird. It's a hollow feeling. Before I started moving stuff with my dad and my brother-in-law, I ate chicken leftovers and they started giving me really bad farts. And then I had a smash burger later. And also at work the week before, someone was not well. And I felt validated later. I found out another coworker had a moment of sickness. So I could have caught something from her. Also, this is obviously a very intense, stressful period and not only anxiety inducing just because of a move and it's chaotic and all your stuff is everywhere, but my dad had a huge health thing happen in front of me. And that brings up a lot of fear and trauma from the past and all of these things. So we're driving home, Josh and I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm going to throw up. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm kind of in denial. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, long story short, I'm sure you know where we get to. I ended up throwing up, but it was like I was alone. I was sleeping upstairs in my parents' guest bed because all my stuff was out of the basement. And I was getting off my period, and I love it. I feel like we're friends, and I will tell you, this is why I love podcasting, because I will tell you the long version. You know, when you hang out with your friends and you're like, oh my God, I cannot tell you the long version of this story. Like, no one fucking wants to listen to this whole thing. You have opted in. You have said, yes, tell me the long version. Here's the fucking long version. I get home. Okay. I feel that's this like hollow hunger in my belly. I don't know if you've ever felt this, but when you're so hungry, you feel like you could puke. And it's weird because I'd eaten quite a lot that day, so I didn't think it was like actual hunger hollowness. And I'd also gotten really used to not eating after 8 o'clock because I tried not to eat too much before bed. So I'm like, what is happening? And I just felt really nauseous. And I really don't feel those things very often. Like, my anxiety symptoms are not nausea in this way, in this capacity. Like, I really didn't think that this was like overcome with stress, because like at the end of the day, everything was working out with the move. I knew everything would go fine. But anyway, so I like try and eat some overnight oats, honestly, plus because it tasted great when it came up later. Ate some overnight oats, had a shower, brushed my teeth, went upstairs, read a bit of my book, and like still felt kind of nauseous, tried to journal a little bit. Maybe that made it worse. Felt really gross. And I was like, no. I was like, I refuse. I will not puke. I said this to my mom the next day. Like, I basically, top 3 reasons why I stopped drinking alcohol, maybe number 2 is throwing up, because I would throw up so much from drinking because I would just overconsume. So I'm like, I do not, who wants to puke? But like, I do not want to puke. And so I was trying to do everything to prevent it. I went downstairs, probably a bad idea because it's acidic, but I like ate a bit of an apple because it was like, I was nauseous. I didn't want anything that could like trigger a gag reflex. I wanted something crunchy and cold, and it still felt really bad. And so then I thought, okay, I have a Diva cup in. Maybe my Diva cup is making it worse. So crazy me, it's like fucking 12 o'clock at this point. It's midnight. I'm moving early the next morning. I really don't want to be up. But I'm like, I need to take my Diva cup out. I can't. If I'm going to throw up, like, and I have a Diva cup in, what if my Diva cup is contributing? I don't know, maybe an intrusive thought, but I had it. So I start boiling water because I will not just take my Diva cup out and leave it. That's how you get a yeast infection. You need to wash it and boil it before the use and after the use. So I'm in my kitchen, boiling my Diva cup. I've taken it out and it hits like a motherfucker. I'm like, shit. Oh my God. And I had just, TMI, gone number 2. Okay. So I don't want to go back to my toilet. It just experienced something coming out the other end. I don't want to go put my head in there. And so I run and I grab my garbage bin that, thank God, had a paper bag in it, or a paper, you know what I mean? And I sat on my kitchen floor in the basement and yacked. And you know, when you do a couple, it was terrible. I'm done. I'm sorry. I won't get more graphic. And I was like, what is happening? Oh my God, it's like I'm reliving it. And then I went to bed and I had the worst sleep of my life at like 2 a.m. I was sweaty. Maybe I had the flu. And I went to the bathroom and I shit my brains out and I felt so awful. Like, I literally laid on the floor. I think I definitely had a fever now that I'm reflecting. And I also just like didn't wake my mom up. I was like, I'm an adult. I'm about to move out. What is my mom going to do? I don't want to fuck up her sleep. She just had this whole stressful incident with my dad too. So I laid on the bathroom floor and it felt like it was spinning. My ears were ringing. I was sweating. It was honestly awful. I don't think I've ever experienced that feeling before. And then eventually I crawled myself into bed and I put on a sweater. I definitely had a fever. Wow, why did I not realize this? I was literally shaking. Okay, and then I fell back asleep, kind of ish. Josh woke me up at 6 a.m. because I had my phone like available for the ringer to just call me. And I texted him and my mom at midnight being like, I just fucking threw up. And he's like, what is going on? I'm like, dude, I barely fucking slept. And then I thought I'd be okay that morning. And I hung out with my parents and I talked through my anxiety and we had a good laugh about how crazy the day was yesterday. And then I like had a bit of electrolytes and I think I tried to eat something really small went to the toilet to poop, grabbed the garbage bin, threw up while pooing. It was just a fucking disaster. My mom was like, can I do anything? And she was like, oh my God, it's coming out of both ends. I'm like, I'm a fucking mess. And it's moving day, guys. Like, Josh is going to be at my house in an hour type shit. And I call him and I'm like, he's like, are we canceling the move? I'm like, no, we can't cancel the move. We have like 8 people ready to help us. I can't drive myself. My car's full of stuff, but I'm like, I need you to drive my car. And just in case you're like, he had ACL surgery, it was his left leg. So he can drive a car with his right leg. And I'm like, I need you to drive me. And he's like, okay, fine. So his friends pick him up. They come to our house. I'm like, nobody touch me. I don't want to get anyone sick. He drives me home, or he drives me downtown. And then like, I'm so pissed because if I wasn't sick, I would have had the best moving experience I've ever had in my entire fucking life. Okay. It was seamless. It was so easy. We had so much help. Get 4 dudes to help you. Bless the fuck up. It literally was, we were done in under an hour. Our superintendent was like, what? You're already done with the surface elevator. We were like, yep, we crushed that shit. But then like, I couldn't do anything. I refused to eat anything else basically that entire day because I didn't want to throw up again. I had this like really negative experience once when I was moving out of an apartment that was just like a little bit of a traumatic situation. And I, like a week after I'd moved, I threw up basically every hour for like 24 hours straight. And I just have like trauma from that. And so I was like, I'm not consuming anything. Not only that, I was like, Mom, go get me a fucking Gravol I can shove up my butt. And I kept calling it an Imodium. And she's like, Jess, it's not an Imodium. It's just a Gravol that's going up your ass. And you're like, why would you put it up your ass? Because if I put it in my mouth, I would throw it back up. And I had no shame. I was like popping those in my butt 3 times that day. I was like, this needs to go the fuck away. I have to continue on with my life. And I felt so bad because everyone was helping us and I was dead as a fucking doornail. And the guys were putting our couch together. I was laying on my bathroom or on my bedroom floor, just dead. And my mom was building my entire bed frame. I'm so grateful for all the people who helped us. Like, people showed the fuck up. And I slept. I had a nap that day and then I slept for like 12 hours that night. And I was like good as new. I mean, obviously I wasn't trying to act like I was good as new, but I felt so much fucking better. So like, it's kind of crazy what our bodies will do to us. And I am very actively working on slowing down and not being such a maniac and like talking through in therapy why I feel I need to ignore my body's signs and symptoms all the time. And also like shit happens. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to overanalyze this and make this a crazy situation. I was stressed. Okay. So then also the next day, I see that my coworker, who I also worked with on Sunday, he was like, hey guys, I cannot get out of bed. Can someone cover my shift? And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. I think we both caught a bug and we both caught like a 24-hour bug. So shippy getting spread around my work. Problemo, number 1. And number 2, obviously my body was trying to fight it. And I had a very intense day on Wednesday and, you know, shit hits you hard. So that's how the moving went. It was a little bit of a non-ideal situation, but every time I talk to anyone about moving, it's not ideal. And that's kind of how life goes. But if I were to answer the question, what part of moving stressed me out the most? It was truly uncertainty. Just like leading up the weeks to it. How are we gonna get the moving elevator? How are we gonna make it work? And then eventually I had to just like convince Josh of like, you're the only one who basically can't move on Thursday, so you need to figure it out. And then he ended up taking the whole day off work, thank God. And it was just a lot between his leg and him not being able to do a lot. Moving is never easy, okay? Moving is just never easy, but we made it through. Okay, so I have a few more questions I just want to get into to sum up the moving process. One of them, I love this question. Someone asked, did you cry during the move? And it's funny because like, I thought I would be a little bit more emotional. Obviously being sick didn't help the situation. Like a week leading up to the move, Josh and I were hanging out in my basement and I had this moment where it just kind of like hit me of like, holy shit, this is like the last time I'll ever live with my parents. And I just started crying and was just like, oh my gosh, like I just love bothering them all the time and hanging out with them. And it's kind of bittersweet because I did feel like I was ready to like wrap up that part of my life and that chapter. But I cried at that point. And the only time I actually cried during my move was I was laying on the couch waiting for the guys to come pick us up to head to the apartment. And my mom was sitting with me and I just like got emotional and she started crying too. And she was just like, of course you have to be sick right now. Like that makes it so much harder. And like, she's just so good at taking care of me and especially when I'm sick. And I just like got emotional. I said to her, like, are you ever fully ready? Like, do you think you're ever fully ready to, like leave your parents' house? And she didn't really say anything. She was like, no, I don't think so. And I don't know. There's so much love my mom and I have for each other. So that was like a really special moment. But other than that, I did pretty well. I didn't cry too much. And I think I get into very much like get shit done mode instead of like cry and be sad mode type of thing. Okay, another question here was, did moving trigger old anxiety for you? And did it ever? Especially because I've moved to Toronto so many times and had honestly, every move was traumatic in its own way. In different experiences. My first move out of Toronto was COVID. Like I lived in an apartment I was obsessed with and I was having the time of my life. And then the guy I was seeing decided to break my heart and then COVID hit and I had to move out. And it was all like, that was really traumatic. And I just did the whole move out by myself. And then that happened again a second time when I lived in Toronto and just had a really challenging situation. And just my body was screaming at me to go. And I just moved and packed up really quickly. Like I've done a lot of moves alone in moments of deep stress and fear and just activation in my body. And so it was really hard. It took a lot in me to like tell myself I was safe and that I wasn't needing to be in a fight or flight situation and, allow myself to ask for help. And I do need to give myself more props because I did ask for more help than I, necessarily maybe did in the past, obviously. But I still want to work on like allowing myself to receive more support from people around me. So it was the most anxiety activating experience because of just how many moves I've had that were not positive. Similarly, someone asked, did the move feel exciting or did it feel emotionally weird? And I think moves just inevitably feel emotionally weird and just confusing and bittersweet, and there's highs and there's lows and there's moments of like, what the fuck are we doing? And then there are other moments of like, this is the best thing ever. And also like so many moments I think in a move, for me especially, I'm like, why hasn't this happened yet? Like leading up to it, it's like, okay, I'm ready. Like mentally you're preparing yourself for so long. And so it's really hard to like be patient throughout the process. And clearly I'm not a very patient person because like the way I've done moves is all by myself, do loads through my car over and over and over. Yeah, I don't think I'll do that anymore. And next time I think I'll hire movers because I'm not trying to hurt my dad and I'm not trying to, oh my God, I'm sitting in my bed and I just found Josh's pimple patch. Jesus Christ. Happy living with your boyfriend. You find each other's shit everywhere. But yeah, I definitely have been feeling all the feels, to say the least. Okay, I think I have just a few more questions. These are a little bit more of fun ones. Well, the first one's not that fun, but how long did it take your nervous system to settle? And I feel like it settled quite quickly after moving in, just in terms of feeling safe in our space, because we were really intentional about like when we were viewing the apartment, I literally was trying to lay on the floor and just see if I would feel safe. And I did. And I felt very safe and calm and grounded in this space. So that helped us feel grounded really fast. Being with my partner obviously really helped me feel grounded and my nervous system settled because I'm doing this with him and we regulate each other, being around each other. So that was great. But we also had to keep reminding ourselves that we just moved and we need to give ourselves grace. That first week, regrets. All last week, it's just I get so hyper and so excited to be in the city and to be close to work and to be close to my favorite workout classes. So I'll sometimes go to like level 100 and just go ham on plans and workout classes with people, and it's just too much. So I overdid it and didn't have enough time at home last week to just feel grounded. And I also feel like I didn't even have capacity to like decorate or unpack or any of that. And Josh was really taking the lead on a lot of the unpacking, which was really nice. But now, okay, so this is another question, like what has still been unpacked? Well, one, my podcast equipment. Now it's finally unpacked because we've recorded our first episode. But also, I feel like we were in decorating mode, or at least Josh was, and then we just like hit a wall where like we have some things on the walls, but then now we just have a bunch of stuff just like leaning against the walls, and have kind of hit a wall where I'm saying wall so many times. We've hit a wall where it's just like we have a cork board up now, we need to put pictures on it, but we just haven't really had time. And this week I'm away a lot for like random trips and stuff for work and for fun. So I feel like you have this like burst of inspiration and then it dips, and then we'll need to like find it again to decorate. And then the very last question is, how are you decorating without spending $1 million? So we have like goals and inspo of how we want the place to look and feel and vibe with. But the reality is I'm really grateful I had so much stuff to bring. Josh brought a desk, okay? Like he didn't have furniture to fucking bring. But like this is my dresser and this is my bed and my bed frame and that couch we have is mine. But the reason for this is though, because I had so many of these things accumulated from over the years. When I lived downtown last time, I bought this bed, so we just moved it this time. This dresser I've had for so long, it looks like it's on its last leg of life. It's like drooped in the center. I should probably fix it because my center little stand doesn't have support. But like my desk I got it from my old place when I was at my old place because I needed a teeny tiny desk and a cute little chair. And so I've kept those things. My mirror has gone everywhere with me. The couch we have behind us, Josh and I got like a year ago for free from someone he knew was getting rid of his couch. So we snagged it. And so we just like, we had the opportunity to buy things and replace things, but we were like, just no, that doesn't make sense. We have stuff we can make do, and we would rather do that. And it also helped my nervous system feel settled fast. Because the moment like we're settling in here, it's like, oh, that's my nightstand, and that's my lamp that I've been using every day for the past 2 years, and that's my dresser I would use every single day, and those are cute pictures of Josh and I that I've had in my bedroom, and everything really feels familiar, which I love. I love. And then I think other than that, we will just add on, and, you know, we had to buy things like a shower curtain and a shower mat and whatever. There's random stuff you have to get. But in general, like I even said to Josh, like, I don't want to just go to HomeSense and buy pictures to decorate with. I want to like go walk in Kensington Market and get a local artist picture that we love and like just really take our time with it and know that like we're going to be here for a while. We will have so much time to continue to evolve the space. Right now I'm staring at 2 blank walls in my bedroom. So it's like a little bit of a bummer, but like, give ourselves grace, give ourselves space, give ourselves time to evolve and just let the place become what we want it to be. So many rhymes there. And just feel really gratitude. Feel really gratitude. I feel a lot of really good gratitude for just getting to be here and experience this. And yeah, thank you so much for submitting these questions. If you ever want to submit anything for me to answer on the podcast, there is a link in the show notes to go to my website and to submit anonymously any questions, any funny stories, any confessions you want me to share. I always love your input for the show, and I'm excited to get back into the flow of posting. I have had 2 people at work ask me how I stay so consistent with social media. And so I'm thinking about doing a specific episode about social media consistency, and I've written some ideas for it. So I did an episode so recently about consistency, so I feel like it's a little bit silly to do another one so soon, but I feel like I have different ideas for this one. So stay tuned. I'm excited to do an episode about that. And I would love if there's other things you would want me to do an episode about, because one girl can only come up with so many ideas. And I just feel like I sit here and I spill the tea all the time about my life. So tell me what's going on with you. Follow me on Instagram at @WithJessicaJane. My DMs are always open, and I'm excited to chat with you soon. Subscribe and share this with a friend. It makes a huge difference. If you could review it as well, that would be fucking bomb. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.